So I spent most of my life around lakes. The footage you're about to see I've captured over the last several years, not necessarily for YouTube, but just for the memories of it. And my lake memory started when I was a teenager with my grandfather. He and I used to go out on early morning road trips from North Little Rock, Arkansas, up to the Ozark Mountains and go skiing on Greers Ferry Lake and Lake Washita. Very special memories for me, and I'm dedicating this video to him, my grandpa. Because I've been on a lake for a long time, I also want to talk about a few other things, honestly, that other people may not talk about. Lakeside living is absolutely wonderful, but it's not without its fair share of work. So my name's Dave, and thanks for stopping by the channel. Please check out the video. The images that you'll see are things that I've captured over the years. So thanks very much for watching. Godspeed and stay safe. You've seen the pictures. Calm water at sunrise, coffee on the dock, grandkids jumping off the pier, that golden sunset reflecting off the lake like glass. That's the dream, and let me tell you, it's real. But so is the work. Today I want to talk about something that you don't see on Instagram, the daily grind that's behind lakeside living. When we think about living on the lake, especially in retirement, we imagine peace, no traffic noise, just wildlife on the lake, maybe fishing off the dock, maybe even feeling like you're on vacation every day. And there's truth to that. Some mornings when the water is still and the world hasn't woken up yet, it's hard to imagine being anywhere else. But lakeside living isn't a postcard, it's a lifestyle, and every lifestyle has responsibilities. Beneath the surface, there's maintenance and cost. Most ongoing costs are incremental, they're not constant. Some years are quiet and others involve a larger project. Costs frequently come in bursts, and they're not monthly drains. Some years it's just the routine upkeep. Other years you tackle a big project, and then you're good for a while. Two of the big ones are dock and shoreline. Minor dock maintenance is pretty regular, especially in the springtime. Major dock work is episodic. It's not annual unless your dock gets hit by a storm. Shoreline protection is also episodic. Riprap, erosion control, it can be expensive up front. And that's a long lifespan when it's done right. And you can spread that cost out over several years. Once you've stabilized the shoreline, the maintenance curve flattens out. Erosion is very real. Riprap isn't glamorous. It can be expensive to put down or pretty labor intensive if you're going to do it yourself. Living on a lake just means you're maintaining something. Always maintaining something. And then there's costs that other people may not think about. Insurance and just the cost of ownership. Insurance can be higher than inland, but it's not outrageous. Some properties or locations are going to require flood insurance, and that's lot and area dependent. Taxes rise, and so does the cost of insurance. The lake may not be a determining value in that. A lake house is more than a standard home, but it's nowhere near the horror stories that you might read online. Summer noise is predictable and temporary. It's generally heavier on weekends and holidays. Wintertime is often very quiet and peaceful, too quiet for others. Community dynamics can vary lake by lake. So I can say that our lake is not necessarily a party lake, but it's not a ghost town either. It settles into a rhythm. There's some parts of the lake that are very busy with all kinds of boat traffic, and there's other areas where it's not. So if you don't want to be around a bunch of people, you can just find a nice little quiet cove to go in and anchor and chill for a while. Lake communities are unique. Sometimes in the summer, they can feel like in a resort. Boats all over the place, jet skis, kayaks, visitors everywhere. It's alive. And in the wintertime, it can be quiet, sometimes peaceful, sometimes isolating. You learn quickly that lake life has seasons. And it's not just weather seasons, it's social seasons. During the summer, everybody's out and about and you get to see your friends and neighbors. And in the wintertime, you don't see as many people. You get a lot of quietness. Each season brings new activities. It's not better or worse than a traditional neighborhood, it's just different. And different requires adjustment. You adjust on how to plan your day, not your entire lifestyle. The daily grind. Let's talk practicality. Generally speaking, lakes are not in an urban environment. You're more in a rural environment. Your grocery store might be further away. If you're a senior, you want to consider this. Medical services might not be right around the corner. EMS responses might be longer because lakes are generally not in a heavily populated area. Internet connectivity may not be what you expect if you lived in the city. The other thing is the weather. If you're doing something on the lake, you need to keep a watchful eye on the weather, the wind, the waves, and the water. When you're out there on the lake, storms hit with a little more intensity, and a big storm can turn deadly at a moment's notice when you're out on the water. And if you're retired, you might find that instead of less to do, you have more stuff to do. You have different things to manage. And here's the important part. That's not a complaint, that's just reality. There's trade-offs in everything you do. Lake life costs more attention and responsibility, and some money, depending on how involved you are. The more hands-on you are, the more manageable the cost becomes. There's trade-offs. Retirement is about freedom, but freedom still requires responsibility. If you want low maintenance, lock and leave convenience, lake life may frustrate you. But if you enjoy taking care of your property, staying active, and solving problems, lake life can be a very incredibly rewarding experience. It gives you purpose, maintaining your little piece of heaven on the waterfront. But you need to go into this with clear eyes. All right, my 2 cents. Here's my honest assessment. The beauty, it's unmatched. The peace, it's real. The pride of ownership is also very real. But there is upkeep. If you want a postcard, you might want to consider renting one for a week. If you want a lifestyle, be ready to maintain it. For me, it's worth it. Not because it's easy, but because I knew what I was signing up for. And that's what I encourage you to do. Don't just fall in love with the view. Fall in love with the responsibility that comes with it, because that is never ending. Because lake life isn't just the scenery, it's stewardship. And if you're willing to embrace that, the dream doesn't fade. It just becomes more honest. Bottom line, lake life isn't cheap and it isn't effortless, but it's manageable, predictable, and can be deeply rewarding. I know my special lake memory, like I said, was with my grandfather. The lunches that we would have all the time was, I'm sure it was Wonder Bread, but it was a Spam sandwich. A slice of Spam right out of the can, a big thick tomato, and a Valdelia onion. And he would sit there and eat it with his eyes closed, savoring that Spam sandwich. It was pretty cool. Very special time. Thanks again for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any special lake memories, please leave those as well. Thanks again for watching. Godspeed and stay safe.